That's why I'm so feared. That's why they feared me when I was in the ring, because I was an annihilator. That's all I was born for. And now those days are gone. It's empty. I'm not.
Mike Tyson's tragedy is not a single event. It is a lifetime of violence, loss, and survival. Each chapter feeding the next in a cycle that began before he ever threw a punch. That is the story of Iron Mike. And this is where it starts. The making of a monster. Mike Tyson was born on June 30th, 1966 at Cumberland Hospital in Fort Greene, Brooklyn. His birth certificate listed a Jamaican cab driver named Purcell Tyson as his father. But the man Mike actually grew up knowing, Jimmy Kirkpatrick, a pimp and street hustler from North Carolina, abandoned the family around the time of Mike's birth, or by age 2 at the latest. The exact timing varies by source. What doesn't vary is this. Kirkpatrick died in 1992 without ever reconciling with his son. Tyson grew up with his mother Lorna, his older brother Rodney, and his sister Denise, who would die at 24 in 1990, in a string of welfare-dependent apartments that got poorer with each move.
At one time it looked nice, and then I realized that we had to move, and then the more we moved, the darker it got. The less white people.
Tyson was 10 years old. The family relocated to Brownsville. At the time, Brownsville was one of the most dangerous zip codes in America. Murder rates triple the national average, open drug markets, burned out buildings left over from the riots, and white flight of the 1960s and 70s.
And Brownsville was just, it was just, whoa, real aggressive and black, you know? Anything's capable.
Whatever could be done to a human being, it was being done there. And young Mike Tyson, pudgy, lisping, high-pitched voice, was an easy target. He described his home life as anything but safe. His mother was frequently absent. He watched men abuse her. He recalled her boyfriend knocking out her gold tooth and her retaliating by pouring boiling water on him. Tyson later tied those scenes to the root of his emotional and sexual dysfunction.
So I grew up, I didn't feel safe at home. My mother, like I was saying, very promiscuous.
School? He was a dropout in everything but name, skipping class to avoid the humiliation that waited in the hallways. He has said he never felt his mother was proud of him, that she only ever knew him as a wild kid running the streets. The streets, though, were where his story took its first sharp turn. Tyson kept pigeons on the rooftop. He built coops, raced them, raised them. They were the one thing in his world that required no violence, no armor, no toughness. Then one day, an older teenager grabbed his favorite bird.
My first fight, I'm a pigeon guy. I always fly birds, pigeons. Yeah. So, my first fight, this guy took one of my pigeons, and so I said, please, give me my bird.
Tyson was 9. The other kid was 13, maybe 15.
Give me my bird, and he said, F you fat. So he took my birds, he clipped my bird's head off, and he hit me with the bird.
Something broke open in him that day. Not just grief.
Fought back. I never fought nobody before. I fought back, and you know what? I can fight real good.
Something harder. That single exchange, a dead pigeon, a first punch, a crowd of witnesses, became the origin point of the most feared heavyweight in boxing history. Neighborhood kids started bringing opponents from other blocks to fight him for money.
I would fight for money, yeah. Guys would give me some, I would just fight people from different neighborhoods.
There was something far darker buried in that same period. Something Tyson kept silent for decades. At 7 years old, walking the alleys of Brooklyn alone, Tyson was grabbed off the street by an unknown older man, dragged into a building, and molested. He escaped by running. He never told anyone. He buried it for 40 years. When he finally disclosed it publicly in 2014, and again in an ESPN interview with Jeremy Schaap, he was reluctant and direct in equal measure. He said it made him have to be tough for the world he lived in. By the time he was 13, Mike Tyson had been arrested 38 times. Petty theft, fighting, truancy. He cycled through the Spofford Juvenile Center in the Bronx multiple times. He watched Muhammad Ali visit the kids there once and saw the staff, the same people who ran the facility with fear, break down crying in Ali's presence.
One day Muhammad Ali comes and visits the kids. The rest, the kids that are fucked up in this juvenile.
The idea that power, real power, could make the most frightening people in a room go quiet lodged itself in Tyson's mind permanently. Eventually, he was transferred to Tryon School for Boys in Johnstown, New York. There, a boxing coach named Bobby Stewart, a former Golden Gloves champion, spotted something uncontainable in him and drove Tyson to meet Cus D'Amato, the legendary trainer of Floyd Patterson and Jose Torres. D'Amato watched Tyson spar 3 rounds. He told Stewart, "Bobby, barring outside distractions, that is the heavyweight champion of the world and possibly the universe." Tyson cried. He was 12 years old. He had been arrested 38 times, molested at 7, abandoned by his father at birth, raised in a war zone, and now an old boxing man in the Catskills was looking at him and seeing a champion. Tyson later said that without D'Amato, he would have been dead or locked up forever. After his mother, Lorna, died of cancer in 1982, when Tyson was 16, D'Amato became his legal guardian. Tyson moved upstate full-time. He dropped out of high school. He trained every day. What followed was one of the most compressed ascents in sports history. On November 22, 1986, at just 20 years and 4 months old, Mike Tyson knocked out WBC champion Trevor Berbick in round 2, becoming the youngest heavyweight champion in history. By August 1987, he held the WBC, WBA, and IBF belts simultaneously. He was undisputed. He was 21 years old. The kid from Brownsville, who had nothing, had become the most feared man on the planet. But D'Amato had died in November 1985, just before Tyson's first title shot. And with him went the one person who had ever truly managed the monster he helped build. What came next was not a boxing story. Fame, chaos, and the fall. The version of Mike Tyson that the world fell in love with in the late 1980s was something genuinely terrifying in the most entertaining sense. He was 5 feet 10 inches and barely 220 pounds, fighting men who outweighed him by 40 pounds and knocking most of them out in under 3 rounds. Pay-per-view records collapsed. The money poured in.
People loved that guy because that guy gave them a drug, and that drug was excitement. Like you turn on the TV, like, oh shit, here we...
Tyson himself, looking back in conversation with Joe Rogan, was far less celebratory about who that man had been.
Some of those press conferences a long time ago, what I'm saying, these guys, I would never talk to anybody.
The world cheered for was a man Tyson didn't like very much.
People loved that guy.
Yeah.
People loved that. I didn't like that guy that much. So I have I'm conflicting with people that like that guy and me living my life that I am living.
The crack started showing almost immediately after the titles came in February 1988. At 21 years old and undisputed champion, Tyson married actress Robin Givens after an 11-month courtship. The marriage collapsed within a year. In September 1988, Givens sat next to Tyson on ABC's 2020 with Barbara Walters, and with Tyson seated silently beside her, described the marriage as torture, pure hell, saying she had become afraid of him. Tyson initially denied the extent of the abuse. He later admitted in Undisputed Truth and in a 2009 Oprah appearance that he had hit her. When asked directly about his treatment of women in a 2014 interview, he didn't reach for excuses.
I'm a human being. I've abused women. Women abused me. It was like a twin blade. We both abused each other, you know? And that's just basically what it was.
The marriage ended in 1989. The legal and financial fallout bled into years. Then came Indianapolis. On July 19, 1991, Tyson met 18-year-old Desiree Washington, a Miss Black America pageant contestant, at a rehearsal event. He invited her to his hotel suite at around 2 a.m. She alleged he raped her. He maintained it was consensual. She She reported it to police hours later. On February 10, 1992, he was convicted of rape and criminal deviant conduct. He was sentenced to 10 years with 6 to serve, ultimately spending 3 years at the Indiana Youth Center before his 1995 release on parole. He was 25 years old. He had been undisputed heavyweight champion of the world, and now he was in a prison cell. He converted to Islam. He read, he reflected. He emerged in 1995 with his jaw clenched and his career in ruins, and immediately began rebuilding, fighting again by 1996. But there was a rage inside him now that had nowhere clean to go. It found its most surreal outlet on June 28, 1997 in the MGM Grand in Las Vegas. The WBA heavyweight rematch between Tyson and Evander Holyfield, who had stopped Tyson with a TKO in their first meeting in 1996, became one of the most infamous nights in boxing history. In round 3, after a series of headbutts and clinches, Tyson bit off a piece of Holyfield's right ear, spat it on the canvas, then bit his left ear. Referee Mills Lane disqualified him. The Nevada Athletic Commission revoked his license and fined him $3 million. The night dissolved into chaos. Tyson was ejected from the ring. A brawl broke out ringside. The most feared man in heavyweight boxing, the kid from Brownsville, who had clawed his way to the very top of the world, had just gotten himself banned from the sport in one of the strangest minutes in sports history. Tyson blamed the headbutts. Holyfield denied intentional fouling. What wasn't in dispute was the image. Iron Mike crouching over an older, smaller opponent, biting him like an animal. The bite fight didn't destroy Tyson's career. He was reinstated in 1998. But it destroyed something else. It confirmed for a lot of people the story they had already written about him, that beneath the trophies and the paychecks, there was something that couldn't be tamed.
That's why I'm so feared. That's why they feared me when I was in the ring, because I was an annihilator. That's all I was born for.
He had been built from the age of 12 to be a weapon. The problem was weapons don't know when to stop. The emptiness that followed his ring dominance. That vacuum left when the one identity he had ever truly owned was stripped away was the thing Mike Tyson could never quite survive. Not in 1997, not in 2003, and not decades later at 59. For $100 million and a bankruptcy filing. By August 2003, Mike Tyson filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection, listing more than $23 million in debt. Despite having earned an estimated $400 million across his career from fights, endorsements, and appearances between 1985 and 2005, $400 million gone. The list of purchases read like a challenge to make it all disappear as fast as possible. Multiple mansions, more than 50 luxury cars, Bentleys, Ferraris, gold bathtubs, private jets, a personal entourage that numbered in the dozens and cost a fortune just to maintain, and infamously 2 or 3 Bengal tigers which cost tens of thousands of dollars per month in care alone. 2 divorces added their own financial weight. His 1989 separation from Robin Givens carried settlements and legal fees. His 2003 divorce from Monica Turner, his second wife, with whom he had 2 children, added more. Lawsuits piled on from all directions. And then, there was Don King. In 1998, Tyson filed a $100 million lawsuit against his longtime promoter, alleging King had defrauded him, skimming from purses, hiding fees, and underpaying him across years of some of the most lucrative bouts in boxing history. The lawsuit was eventually settled. King denied any wrongdoing, but the money Tyson believed had been stolen was gone, regardless of what a settlement said. Taxes finished what the excess had started. In the abusive relationships interview from the transcripts, Tyson reflected with no glamour and no performance on what was left.
And now those days are gone. It's empty. I'm nothing.
The bankruptcy wasn't only financial. It was the moment that confirmed what had been quietly true for years: that the empire built on his fists had no foundation beneath it. No financial literacy was developed after childhood poverty. No trusted advisors with genuine loyalty. No system for protecting what had been earned. When Cus D'Amato died in 1985, Tyson not only lost a trainer, he lost the only adult in his professional life who had any real authority over him. What replaced D'Amato's structure was an entourage economy, people whose livelihoods depended on Tyson's spending, not saving. A 1999 road rage incident led to a year in jail. A 2006 arrest for DUI and cocaine possession. A 2007 hold. Each one a flash of the old chaos breaking through the surface. He was by his own admission a full-blown addict. Cocaine from as far back as age 11. Alcohol, marijuana, the substance abuse ran beneath all of it, through all of it, powering the excess and the violence and the inability to sit still.
That big life that we're talking about and we reminisce about, that's never going to appear again. I'm never going to be no billionaire, multi-hundred millionaire type guy again. I'm just always have to live this kind of life. I'm always going to be taking care of my children. I'm going to be paying my monthly notes, my yearly bills, and there's nothing glamorous that's going to happen in it.
That quote came from a conversation about something far heavier than bankruptcy. But the pattern it described was the same. When life became too much to face, Tyson had one response. The same response he'd had since Brownsville. You find a way to survive the pain and ask questions later. By 2003, the money was gone. The titles were ancient history. The era of dominance was a decade in the rearview mirror. What remained was a man in his late 30s broke with demons that had never been addressed, and a sport that still had some use for his name. Even if his body was no longer what it had been, he kept fighting, not because he loved it. He later admitted money was the primary reason he continued fighting past the point when he should have stopped. Post-bankruptcy, something did slowly, partially shift. He began appearing in films. His role in The Hangover in 2009 was a cultural reset of sorts, a reminder that there was charm beneath the chaos. He launched a podcast, Hot Boxin' with Mike Tyson, that revealed a reflective searching quality in him that the ring persona had always obscured. He started a cannabis company, Tyson Ranch, and later Karma Holdco, taking the CEO chair. He got sober from hard drugs around 2009, but the financial scars meant he was never fully free. The years of fighting past his prime of saying yes to exhibition bouts and comeback offers were never purely about love of the sport.
No, I did some cocaine for a week. I had to get high. I had to back then. I had to get high. I couldn't handle it. Oh.
That was his first instinct. The same instinct that had been wired into him at 9 years old in Brownsville. When pain becomes unbearable, the only available response has always been violence. Even when the thing being destroyed would be himself.
This is my best thinking at the time. Get my gun, automatic, just like this.
He has been open about the fact that the grief sent him back to cocaine, the same drug he'd been fighting for years, the same escape hatch, the same Brownsville survival response applied to the most devastating thing that had ever happened to him. Tyson married Kiki Spicer in 2009, the same year Exodus died, and they remained together. He credits Kiki and his family with being the foundation that kept him from complete collapse. They have 2 children together, Milan and Morocco. He has 8 children total across multiple relationships, with Exodus being the one he lost. The loss of Exodus also deepened the sobriety push that had already begun. He has been clean from hard drugs since approximately 2009. The grief appears to have functioned painfully as a kind of wall, the thing he could not cross and survive. The limit that finally made the cost of self-destruction too real to ignore. In a later conversation, emotional, unguarded, barely composed, Tyson reflected on the kind of man he had become after everything.
But when I went to the hospital, the people that were there, they're up there because their kids are dead too, or about to die.